Am I the a-hole for telling my friend she's reaping what she's sowed? At the beginning of quarantine, my friend Bella, female 30, proposed open marriage to her husband Mike, male 28. The timing was off, obviously, but she had thought about it a lot and she said it was the only way for her relationship with Mike to survive, because she loved him dearly, but felt unfulfilled. Mike hesitantly agreed because he didn't want to lose her. When I asked him about it, he seemed very much not thrilled about the whole thing. Backstory here is that Bella and Mike have known each other since middle school, but only started dating in college, at which point Bella had a lot more experience in relationships. Mike has told me he's always felt like he was one step behind her in most things, but that their marriage really worked and he was very happy with her. Well, during quarantine, the two of them became even closer than they had ever been before. And I think Mike didn't expect Bella to actually go through with the open relationship idea she had proposed. But around 3 months ago, she brought it back up and then settled on some rules together. Cut forward to an hour ago. It's way past midnight here, when Bella calls me crying saying Mike cheated on her. I'm all question marks at that point because Mike would never. She tells me she tried calling Mike all day, but he said he had a date and hasn't come home yet. I ask her, but wasn't that sort of okay between you two? She sobbingly tells me that yes, that was sort of the deal, but that she hadn't been able to go on a single date with a guy yet because she was so busy with work being back on now, and that Mike just went ahead with his date as if she meant nothing. That he hadn't disclosed any details to her, which as far as I know is part of their deal, that they didn't want to know any details, and that she felt like he was ridiculing her. I didn't really know what to say. I just told her, well, honey, I think you just reaped what you sowed, honestly. She's furious with me and screamed at me for being an awful friend to her, that I should understand how she feels. I kept quiet, but honestly, I think she's just upset that her husband is doing what she proposed in the first place. I haven't talked to Mike yet, but am I the a-hole? Edit. Spoke with Mike just now. He said he had an awesome night, but came home to Bella screaming at him and is feeling incredibly guilty and confused now. Understandably, he'll come by after work to talk. Now for the top comments. Yeah, not the a-hole. People always seem to be down for open relationships until they remember their partner can have an open relationship too. And it often seems that the partner who originally proposed the idea ends up striking out while the hesitant partner hits the home run. I'm not sure that's necessarily true, but I do find that often when the hesitant one does succeed more than the suggester gets bent out of shape far worse than is reasonable. Not the a-hole. I'll bet money that what her friend was really thinking is that she'd convince her husband to try an open relationship, but he loved her too much to ever sleep with anyone else. She thought it would be a win-win for her. Her husband would be at home loving her, and she'd be out getting her back blown out, and it would all be legit because the husband agreed to an open marriage. Not the a-hole. She didn't expect him to actually sleep with other people. She just wanted to sleep with others without it being considered cheating. She's really ridiculous, and I'm on Mike's side for this one. She wanted an open relationship, so that's what she got. Lol. That's what most people want in an open relationship. The opportunity to sleep around with a fallback. Be careful what you ask for. You might well get it. Your friend felt unfulfilled and wanted someone to meet her needs. She never considered that in an open marriage. Both spouses are free to go elsewhere. She said he cheated, but he did no such thing. It isn't cheating in an open marriage. Your friend's reality check just bounced. Not the a-hole. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for walking out of a house after the host told me to feel free to leave because she doesn't like people in her house? This just happened like an hour ago. Backstory. Dating this guy and his best friend was having a small party, if you can call it that. There were 10 people there at most. I wasn't invited, but boyfriend told me it would be okay if I came. Usually I wouldn't go somewhere without an invite, but since this is his best friend's house, I assumed that he knew the situation better than me. I show up, go inside, meet the best friend, and she didn't know I was coming. Boyfriend says, "Hey, this is who I told you about. I wanted you guys to meet." The best friend turns to me with a straight face and says, "Yeah, it's alright I guess, but feel free to leave because I don't really like people in my house." So I left. I turned around and walked out without saying another word. Now, to be completely fair, my boyfriend was shocked. He came after me and said that he had no idea that she would react that way, but she was just having a bad night, and that we should go back in and everything will be okay. Obviously, I left, and he didn't come with me. But now he is texting me and saying that while she was a bit rude, I was even more rude for just walking out in front of everyone, and that it made for a weird vibe with all of his other friends who were there. So, am I the a-hole? Did I overreact? I should mention, there is a language barrier here. She speaks Greek/Italian as first languages, and I speak English. So honestly, her intent was questionable. But the look on her face gave me a weird vibe. Interesting conversation below. Does boyfriend have the right to invite someone into someone else's home? This is a tough one because it's sometimes yes, and sometimes no. I've done this before if the vibe was right. But mostly I don't do it. I would just ask first. So I kind of understand if he thought it was a situation where it would be okay, but turned out not to be okay. Conflicted. Not today, Hall. Your boyfriend plus his friend are. He didn't come with you when you left, and that's an a-hole move right there. P.S. Does she have the hots for your boyfriend, that's why she was rude to you? So you would leave, and she could do stuff with/to him? Nah, nothing going on between them. Incompatible genitalia preferences. Not today, Hall. And if I was dating him and he decided to return back to the party after that interaction, I wouldn't be dating him any longer. For him to put Opie in that position in the first place was bad enough, but then letting Opie walk out and leave alone? He really doubled down on a-hole with that move. As for BFF, English may not be her first language, but I think her message came across loud and clear. Not a-hole. Not a-hole. No. He did you wrong by sending you into a place you were not invited, had a host insult you, and then gets mad you leave? No, do not apologize. What the hell is he complaining about? He still stayed for the party while you ended up going home. Not a-hole. That was a very reasonable reaction after being treated that way. Much more polite than I would have been. My only confusion is why you didn't immediately dump the boyfriend for going back into the party. And you're waiting until a bit later to do that for some reason. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We are in that weird, dating but not exactly exclusive stage, so there wouldn't even be a formal breakup. We just wouldn't see each other again, if that makes sense. For the next story, am I the a-hole for calling my friend jealous and insecure? My friend Aisha, 22 female, has a history of going after our friend's old crushes/flings/boyfriends, etc. She went after my ex-boyfriend when we were 18, went after our friend's ex-boyfriend freshman year of college, etc. No one had ever said anything about it for one reason or another, because other than this, Aisha was a really good friend. She has never gone for a guy that no one else has gone for either, especially with me. She's gone after most of the guys I've talked to, after we were done talking, and I didn't mind until now. Most of our friends used to like Jaden, my current boyfriend, 22 male. Aisha, along with 4 other girls, liked Jaden when we were 19, but he never entertained them. We were all in the same friend group, but Jaden and I never really talked until a few months ago when we ran into each other. He lost touch with a lot of people in the friend group and hadn't talked to Aisha in years. We ended up talking and now we're dating. When Aisha found out, she started texting Jaden and asking him to hang out. It got to the point where she'd complain to me about him not responding to her. I told Jaden I don't mind him hanging out with her to catch up, but that Aisha has a history of doing this kind of thing and catching feelings. So if he does see her, he should make it clear he isn't interested. They ended up never hanging out and Jaden doesn't respond to her texts. Aisha kept being persistent and texting him. She continued to complain to me about him not responding and eventually complained to all of our friends. It made everyone uncomfortable. I didn't say anything until the other day when she brought up how Jaden had said he would date her. Someone asked who he would date if he had to pick from the group of girls who liked him when we were 19. And he said her. I was there for it and I'm not bothered by it. I told Aisha he said if he had to pick from the girls who liked him, he would have picked you. Nothing else. He didn't and doesn't see you in that way. I told her it made me uncomfortable how she talked about Jaden and said, "You're acting like you had a crush on him. And whether or not you do, he's with me, and that's not going to change." Aisha told me I sounded jealous and I said, "No, I'm annoyed." Jealous would imply you have something I don't, And believe me, that isn't the case. If you can't get a guy without him being with one of us first, that's on your own jealousy and insecurities. Stop trying to get with my boyfriend and everyone else's. It's not cute, and you're doing yourself a disservice. You can't go after our exes then complain about how you feel like you're a second choice. Aisha stopped talking to me after that. While all of our friends think it needed to be said, some think I crossed the line by insulting her and think I should have just said she was making us uncomfortable. Edit. Aisha's now been trying to claim she was just trying to catch up with Jaden since they used to be close friends, and that it took things the wrong way. She said she was just joking around and that it wasn't that serious. However, after some digging around, I found out that when Jaden and I started talking, she started asking around about him. A mutual friend told me that she was convinced Jaden liked her and was going to ask her out because she saw TikTok saying a guy with the letter J was going to come into her life, and that she should expect some romance. She also found out Jaden kept a painting she made for him for Secret Santa back during freshman year of college and saw it as a sign. I told Jaden all of this, and he has since thrown out the painting and blocked her and everything. Now for the comments. Not Dayhal and wow. No, I'm annoyed. Jealous would imply you have something I don't. And believe me, that isn't the case. If you can't get a guy without him being with one of us first, that's on your own jealousy and insecurities. Damn, girl. I couldn't have said that better myself. Good for you. Maybe your comments hurt her feelings, but sometimes that's necessary to get your point across. Some people don't respond to nice and need to be told they're being an a-hole in order for them to realize it. She needed to hear this. On another note, why is anyone in your group asking your boyfriend to choose a second choice from the group? That's super inappropriate and irrelevant. It also bound to start trouble, which it did. You should ask your friends to steer clear of asking dumb and pointless questions like this. Not a-hole. Pointing out someone is insecure or jealous isn't insulting them. Unless more was said that you are leaving out. To be honest, I'm surprised OP's friend group hasn't said anything to Aisha about her behavior before now, especially with the whole going after the ex-boyfriends thing. All that's done is embolden her to now start going after actual boyfriends. Yikes. Definitely not a-hole. It needed to be said. Edited to Ed. Your boyfriend also needs to nip this in the bud and make it clear to Aisha that he has no intention of meeting with her alone, and that he's not interested in her. Not saying he's an a-hole, but he needs to set firm boundaries and / or block her number if she keeps persisting. A couple of girls have come close to saying something, but it never bothered us too much since she'd usually do it once the relationship was already over. In most cases, the relationships ended because my friends and I were the ones who ended it, so while it was uncomfortable for us to see her go after our exes, it wasn't like we were heartbroken over them, so we'll let it go. She wouldn't get anywhere with our exes either. Usually they would seek her for comfort, but she'd complain about being second choice, then stop talking to them. Aisha also has a history of struggling with depression and anxiety, and we didn't want to do anything to worsen her mental health. We thought it was better to just let it go. She's never been like this where she's made a move while we were still together, so that's why I finally said something. Not today, Hal, and maybe consider dropping that friend because holy insecurity, Batman. She has zero place complaining about how your boyfriend isn't texting her back, much less to the entire group. I'm surprised you put up with it for that long. She needed that line boldly drawn, though. She wouldn't have stopped by just being told you made people uncomfortable. I honestly thought I was just jealous at first, until a few of our friends told me how it was weird and uncomfortable how much she was talking about my boyfriend. Once I realized how everyone else felt the same way as me, I realized it wasn't jealousy, just annoyance and anger at her disrespect for my relationship. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole? Wife wants a bigger ring after 5 years. Wife and I got engaged, and I paid cash for engagement ring. I didn't have a set amount I wanted to spend, but got a ring just under 1 carat. The ring is beautiful and I spent a long time on the details. It isn't huge, but she has a tiny hand, so it is actually really proportional. I was never thrilled about the idea of supporting the diamond industry, but I understand cultural symbolism and like shiny things myself. Now that we have more money, she wants to get a new engagement ring. Since we were more limited in funds a few years ago, her belief is that we should get her a ring more in line with what we can afford now, and it always ends in an argument. It kinda rubs me the wrong way, And she says I'm an a-hole about it because I'm making it out to be that she's materialistic, or only wants it for status, or even just to feel better about herself, which is still an issue in my mind. Her case is that she will wear it forever, until we change income brackets probably, and why shouldn't it be something nicer? Am I the a-hole for not wanting to do this, or pointing out that it is compensating/image related? It feels like she just thinks she can upgrade it away, and then she's wearing a ring that isn't even the one I gave her. And it isn't because she lost it or it was damaged, but just because she wants something better. Honestly, it grosses me out. And then I'm so put off, I kinda become an a-hole that feels unappreciated. Would something like an anniversary ring that won't replace the engagement ring meet everyone's needs? 5 years is a milestone. You could turn this into a piece of jewelry that's special in its own right. No a-holes here. I'm with you. Add to the band in the form of an anniversary band. If it were me, I'd want different stones like blue, green, or red, sapphire, or something, making it really special. Maybe something they designed together with a jeweler. Just a thought, but replacing the stone seems wrong somehow, as if it weren't good enough to represent who they were when they got engaged. More like representing their stages of life. Info. Was your wife involved in picking out the first ring? It's bound to be unpopular, but I think buying someone an engagement ring they are expected to wear for life without input isn't always a great idea. My husband proposed to me with a plain silver band with the word placeholder engraved on the inside because he knew he'd never be able to pick something my picky self would like. My husband proposed with a fake $20 ring, and there was a note in the ring box that said, "P.S. The ring is fake, but my love for you is real." And then he gave me the budget and I designed my own ring. Perfect. Am I wrong for making my son take a paternity test? This is a mess, and I would appreciate opinions from unbiased people. It was recommended that I post here and another page. I, female 39, have 2 kids, male 17 and female 10. When I was 21, I had a one-night stand which resulted in my son Austin, and the father wanted nothing to do with my child. When my son was 3, I met my husband Mark, male 38. My son adores my husband and calls him father. Austin met his current girlfriend through Mark's best friend Ellen, her father. Macy and Austin have been close since they were young, and we were all thrilled when we found out they were dating. After we found out, Mark and I sat Austin down and explained that we're happy for him, but we needed him to know the importance of safe sex, whether it was happening or not. He was disgusted, but said he understood, and we left it at that. For context, my son is what others describe as shy and soft-spoken. He's really sensitive and takes harsh comments/actions to heart. We thought everything was fine with him until he came home crying. He eventually told us Macy had cheated on him. I was angry and urged my son to leave, but my husband calmed us both and asked to speak with Austin privately. Essentially, he asked Austin what he wanted to do and if he wanted us to stop seeing Macy and her father. Austin said he didn't want that and wanted to work things out with Macy. I was upset but didn't say anything, and ever since that happened, I've hated seeing her around. All I think about when I see her is my son distressed and crying his eyes out. I act cordial around her, but I don't like her. Around February, Austin came home looking rather upset again, so I sat down with him and asked what's going on. I wasn't expecting to hear him say what he said to me. Macy's pregnant. I was furious. I told him I expected better from him. I also said that before anything happened, he needed to do a paternity test. He was angry that I suggested she cheated again, but I didn't like how she was suddenly pregnant. When Mark came home from work, I filled him in and he was equally upset. We all sat down and discussed it. Austin explained that I demanded a paternity test was done, and Mark wasn't happy to hear that. I explained that she's cheated before. She could have cheated again. That led to a huge argument before we all calmed down. I asked if her parents knew. Apparently not. He said she agreed to tell them tonight. And sure enough, about an hour later, Mark gets an angry call from Alan demanding that my son marries his daughter. And if Austin refuses, he demands that he pay child support and stay out of the kid's life. Of course, we were all angry and exhausted, so I said that nothing was happening until a paternity test was done, and I wasn't taking the word of a cheating little girl. He blew up at us, and it was radio silence after the call. Macy was then told she can no longer see Austin, and he took it out on me. A few weeks ago, Alan contacted us and agreed to do a paternity test. I asked quite a sudden change, but he ignored me. He said he set up the appointment for May 5th. Austin went with Mark. He said he didn't want to be around me. It stung, and I won't lie, it made me cry when he said that. Results finally came in a few nights ago, and he isn't the father. He was shattered. But instead of apologizing, he screamed that this was my fault, and he would have never known. He hasn't said much to me since. Maybe I was wrong for making him do a paternity test, but I was only looking out for my son. Was I wrong for making him take a paternity test? You're not wrong. The girl was a known cheater. Your son was an easy mark. He is young, sensitive, and hurt. This pregnancy would have affected his entire life going forward had he been the father. He will appreciate your insistence on the paternity test after he has a chance to sort his emotions. Or pay child support for a child that isn't his, just to have her throw that fact in his face 10 years down the road. Finding out now is the best scenario. Or he stays with her and she continues to cheat and raise a child that isn't his. He will understand one day. He's hurting right now and you're just the person he took it out on. Once he understands the gravity of the situation and what it takes to raise a child, he will thank you. Exactly. At 17, my mother got a lot of volatile, displaced anger thrown at her from me. Looking back, I think I raged at her because she was a safe person. By that, I mean even though there may have been consequences to my actions, I knew no matter what she wouldn't leave or reject me. Opie, your son is taking this out on you because he trusts that you love him and will be there for him when the dust settles. As counterintuitive as that may sound, it's safer for him to direct all his pain and anger at you than at the ex-girlfriend. You did the right thing getting the test. Continue to be there for your son as he processes this heavy ordeal, and eventually he'll come to understand. This applies to all ages. A friend told me the other night that she'd heard a loud house full of yelling and screaming is one where the child/children feel safe to express their feelings and opinions with their parents. It's the quiet houses that you should worry about. 1,000,000% not wrong. He will appreciate it one day. I'm not sure why your husband was so against the paternity test from the start though. Since your husband was against it, your son feels like you're in the wrong for pushing on it. He's just dealing with a broken heart right now. Don't take it to heart. My take on the husband is that maybe this is a sensitive topic for him, since he's taken on a fatherly role to Opie's son who isn't biologically his. This is obviously a very different situation, and Opie is in the right. But I wonder if Opie's immediate jump to a paternity test has triggered something for the husband about Opie not seeing him as Austin's real father, or something to that extent. Next story. 18 years ago today, I was essentially erased from my family's existence. Today marks 18 years since I was told that the man I called Dad my entire life got DNA test results back and confirmed I wasn't his biological son. It also marks 18 years since we've spoken. In his eyes, regardless of raising me my entire life, I don't exist. The kicker is that my mother is still with him and lies to everyone about his relationship with me. I am not welcome in their home, and there are 0 pictures of me or my children displayed. I've effectively been erased from existence, at least in his head. He and my mom married prior to the Vietnam War, and when he returned, he decided he didn't want to be married anymore. So they split, and she started seeing someone in the office she worked. He got jealous and wanted her back, so they got back together. Apparently, my conception occurred during that break. In the 18 years since we last spoke, I've learned who my biological father is, though he will not recognize the fact even with conclusive DNA tests. I've learned of at least 4 half-siblings, all of which are significantly older than me. While I've been able to connect with them, there really isn't any type of relationship there. The biggest impact this event had on me was increasing my issues with abandonment and feelings of worthlessness. It negatively impacted my ability to form meaningful relationships and continued to make me feel alone in the world. By all observations, I have a decent life. I'm a father to 2 wonderful children, involved in the community, and helped at their respective schools. But I still feel out of place, like I'm playing pretend around others. I constantly second-guess every interaction I have and never feel worthy of anyone else's time. It has been a major struggle. Battling anxiety and depression at the same time only makes it worse. Isolation of working from home plays into it, but I am happy in my current company. Only a select few people in my real life actually know any of this, and I feel like I'd be even more of an outcast if I told others. I just put on a smile when I'm in public and pretend like there isn't a huge hole in me. I don't even expect anyone to even read this whole bumbling spewing of word salad, but at least I've told the universe. If you are still reading this, I just want to say thank you for taking the time. I see you. I hear you. It sucks when someone else's problems become ours. Mostly the situation sounds like a him problem, not a you problem. Unfortunately, your mom and he have made it a you problem. The world has your back. Keep being the most you can be. Your validation comes from you, not another single person alive gets that work. Thank you. It's definitely difficult when people from my childhood ask how my dad is. I suppressed my feelings about the situation so long, but thankfully counseling has helped. You don't have to lie. Lots of people ask me why my dad wasn't around for my childhood. At first, I would lie or dance around it, but I realized it's so much better to say he was an alcoholic. I'm not hurting him by being honest. People don't look down on me for his choices. I've reconnected with my dad and still love him, but I'm still honest when people ask. It's my truth. Feel free to tell yours. The way your parents have treated you says more about them than it does about you. No child deserves that kind of BS. Yes, this. Exactly this. The father thinks someone's genetic material matters more than all the time they spent building a relationship. The fact that he can just tear it down in a second speaks volumes about him as a human being. Those volumes, of which there are enough to fill a small library, just say insecure, hurtful, self-centered dumpster fire of a human being over and over again for 4,000 pages, and have a middle finger embossed on a cover. The mother is either complicit or so horrifically mistreated as to be cowed into going along with it. Either way, it makes me want to vomit. Opie's family's where they find it. These wastes of oxygen are not deserving of him. He deserves friends and family who love him and accept him as he is. Thank you for the message. A new study was just published in Psychiatry Research and shared through SciPost.org that discusses the difficulties that people who have a non-parental event struggle with, and I opened my eyes. There is a Facebook group that I've joined for support in dealing with this. I would very much suggest that you befriend an older man. Robert Bly, an 80s philosopher, said, "Every young man needs an older man in his life." I'm over 60 and have been very fortunate to have had a number of these friends and mentors in my life over the years. You might start looking around at neighbors, church, social groups, maybe even an old folks' home. A lot of older folks like to talk about their history, but if you find the right one, they can and will want to be a friend/mentor. It only takes one. P.S. Your dad is probably a self-absorbed and flaky scumbag. I want to be married. I don't. I do. And your mother is likely an extremely weak and bad person not to care about her son. I actually have, to an extent. My high school swim coach became a valued mentor and taught me so many things. Upon graduating high school, I actually joined the staff as a coach and served under him for 19 years until he retired. Another set of parents of some kids I coached have become somewhat of a surrogate family as well. We have dinner every week together, which has been helping a lot. I appreciate your comment. Edited to add, the outpouring of support that I've received has been incredible. I want to thank each and every person who has commented or messaged, and I'm doing my best to reply to each of you. Whether you've had a similar experience or offered advice, from the bottom of my heart, I greatly appreciate it. Last story. Girlfriend 23 female appears to be seeing this guy 21 male behind my 25 male back. I sometimes go on her laptop to help with work stuff. Last time I was on it, a message came through from this guy I'd never heard of. I looked and they appeared to message very frequently, but the fact that I only just saw it after how many months gives me the impression that she mutes notifications from him when with me, but forgot this time around. I don't mind people having friends, but from the messages I've seen, this friendship seems to be very strange. The messages are platonic enough for the most part, but she's a very reserved girl, and the messages between us would appear to be platonic to an outsider, so I just can't take it at a surface level. I also know they messaged on multiple apps, because in some messages she was like, "Hold on, we'll go to the other chat," which just adds to my suspicions. I have no idea what this other chat is. But that's not even what upsets me the most. Like I said, I'm fine with her having friends, but there were a few conversations that make me think that it isn't just an ordinary friendship. I don't want to analyze too much of the convos in this post because it'll get too long, but a good summary would be that they seemed to confess to liking each other when they were out somewhere. And a convo the next day was basically her saying that she likes him, but doesn't know what to do, and at least for now, she's with me. Her exact words. Initially, I thought, okay, fair, a boundary was crossed and she set the record straight. However, prior to that convo, they seemed to hang out as part of a work group. But following that convo, they started hanging out alone, just the two of them. Messages are one thing, and I can just read them and come to a conclusion. But what on earth happens when they're out together? And why the hell would she hang out with a guy who she knows likes her if there wasn't some hidden motive? Oh, and there is something else. She usually stays at mine every weekend, but she doesn't tell him that. She tells him that she's hanging out with a family or going to a friend's, which makes me think she's been hiding me from him too in recent weeks. I don't know why she would do that, especially since she told him she's with me, but that was 3 months ago. I haven't told her anything because there are so many gaps and I don't want any plausible deniability. I need to see this other chat, but she is extremely private, so there is no precedent to look at her phone. I think I'm going to ask who he is and mention that I saw a message come from him and see what she says. If I get the impression that she's being dishonest, I'll tell her what I saw and go from there. I don't want to come to any conclusions before at least speaking to her, so I want to get it right. How should I go about this? Shall I wait for more proof or bring it up to her now? Now for the top advice before the mini update. Just end it. You don't need this nonsense in your life. Agreed. OP, you don't need this mess in your life. If this is how she behaves when she's your girlfriend, then what is your recourse would be if she starts doing the same if she were to be your fiancé or your wife? Please be glad that she showed you her true colors now, instead of 10 years from now. I'm going to sound like such an old prick, but you're so young. Is this really something you want to fight for? I'm an old prick too, and while I might have mooned over a girl when I was in my 20s, at my age, I have realized that this kind of bollocks is just too draining. Let her go, OP, and find someone who isn't playing two blokes off against each other. Cut your losses now and put it down to experience. In her head, she's already getting her legs blown off by him. You're just a safe bet. I guarantee it won't be too long before she really does succumb to his charms and ends up doing the dirty and bringing home something that'll have you taking antibiotics or antivirals for God knows how long. Don't do it yourself. I just have to ask, say she is biding her time while she chooses between you, and in the story you laid out, the best case scenario is she chooses you. Now what? Now you have a girlfriend who makes you insecure, who is wishy-washy, who is not fiercely loyal. You may care about her after a year, but consider this a bullet dodged. You would never want to marry somebody like this. You guys have only been dating for a year. Your relationship should still be fun, exciting, and new. If she's already bored and looking elsewhere, why would you want to spend any more years with her? Update. This probably warrants an update post, but I can't be bothered at the moment, and we'll just sum it up here. I reached out to the guy and he seems nice, but I can't tell if he's lying and I don't really care at this point. He said their relationship has been platonic, but she does act inappropriately sometimes when they're together, but he brushes her off. He said that he did like her, but sees her as a lost cause who doesn't know what she wants. So he has been trying to distance himself. He also said she's the one who reaches out to him and asks to go out. But I've seen multiple of instances of the opposite, so I don't trust what he says. I think he's trying to cover his back. Either way, I'm breaking up with her.